upon a time, in a small town named Noodleton, there lived a very curious little boy named Max. Max wasn't your typical kid. He didn't like playing video games or collecting stickers. No, Max had an obsession with spaghetti. He loved spaghetti more than anything else in the world, more than chocolate, more than his favorite toys, even more than his pet hamster, Sir Wiggles. One sunny afternoon, Max was eating his usual bowl of spaghetti for lunch when something very strange happened. As he twirled his fork to pick up another bite, the spaghetti began to wiggle. Max blinked. He swirled his fork again, and this time, the spaghetti jumped off his plate and landed on the table. "What in the noodle is going on here?" Max exclaimed. Before he could even finish his sentence, the spaghetti leaped off the table and started to crawl across the floor like a tiny army of wiggling worms. Max gasped and chased after them. "Wait, come back!" he shouted. "You're my lunch." But the spaghetti wasn't interested in being eaten. It had other plans. The spaghetti wiggled under the couch, over the rug, and through the open door, out into the garden. Max followed, determined not to let his lunch escape. "Where do you think you're going?" Max called after it, as he ran through the yard, his shoes kicking up dirt. Suddenly, the spaghetti made a sharp turn and crawled into the big, mysterious forest behind Max's house. Max hesitated for a moment. He had heard stories about the forest, the kind of stories that involve talking trees, mischievous fairies, and enchanted animals. But the spaghetti was getting away, and Max wasn't about to lose the only food he ever truly loved. He decided to follow. Max walked deeper into the forest, the trees whispering above him, the spaghetti still ahead of him, wiggling and squirming as if it had a life of its own. "This is the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me," Max said to himself. "And I've eaten spaghetti with meatballs for breakfast before." After what seemed like forever, Max finally caught up to the spaghetti, which had stopped by a large rock. It was no longer moving. Max approached cautiously, his eyes narrowing. "Gotcha," Max said as he grabbed the spaghetti with both hands. But before he could take a single bite, a loud voice boomed from behind him, "Help!" Max turned around so fast he almost tripped over his own feet. Standing in front of him was the largest, most magnificent spaghetti noodle he had ever seen. It was at least 10 feet long, with sauce dripping from its edges like it had just come out of a giant spaghetti pot. The noodle was wearing a crown made of Parmesan cheese, and had a serious look on its saucy face. "Who dares to steal the great spaghetti of Noodleton?" the giant noodle demanded. Max eyes went wide. "Wait, you're the great spaghetti?" "Indeed I am," said the giant noodle. "I'm the king of pasta, and you, young one, are trespassing in my kingdom." "I didn't mean to trespass," Max said, holding his hands up in surrender. "I was just chasing my lunch." "You were chasing my lunch," the giant noodle corrected him. "Do you have any idea how hard it is to keep all my spaghetti in line?" "They're very, very mischievous." Max scratched his head. "I'm sorry, but I didn't know spaghetti could be alive." "Well, of course, we are. We past the folk have been living in the forests of Noodleton for centuries," the great spaghetti said proudly. "But we have a rule: no humans are allowed to take us away to eat. We have our own noodle ways." Max blinked. "So, I'm not allowed to eat spaghetti?" "No. That would be a noodle disaster," the king of pasta declared. "However, if you want to stay enjoying the great spaghetti parade, you may enjoy as much spaghetti as you like, but only in noodle form." Max was confused but intrigued. "A parade?" "Yes. Every year, we pass the folk through the biggest, slurpiest, saucy spaghetti parade. It's a celebration of all things pasta," said the giant noodle. "And this year, you're invited to join us. But only if you prove yourself worthy." Max thought about it for a moment. He loved spaghetti, and if he could be part of a party and eat all the spaghetti he wanted, how could he resist? "What do I have to do?" the king of pasta grinned. "Simple. You have to complete the spaghetti challenge." Max raised an eyebrow. "What's the spaghetti challenge?" The giant noodle held up its cheesy crown. "You must twirl the longest spaghetti strand, catch a flying meatball, and do the famous spaghetti dance. If you can do that, you'll earn the title of Master of Noodles, and you'll be able to enjoy spaghetti forever." But if you fail, Max gulped. What happens if I fail? You'll be sent back home with no spaghetti at all. The king of pasta said ominously. Max's stomach rumbled. He couldn't let that happen. I'll do it. I'll win. The spaghetti challenge was tougher than Max had expected. First, he twirled spaghetti until his arms were sore. Then, he had to leap and catch flying meatballs that zoomed by like little missiles. And finally, he performed the spaghetti dance, which was much harder than it looked. He had to spin, shake, and noodle his way around in a way that made even the trees shake with laughter. But Max didn't give up. He twirled, leaped, and danced with all his might. And in the end, after much effort, and a little bit of spaghetti sauce splattering everywhere, Max completed the challenge. The king of pasta cheered. Well done, young one. You are truly the master of noodles. Max grinned. He had done it. And as a reward, the great spaghetti parade began. Spaghetti noodles of all shapes and sizes marched through the floors, twirling and twisting in perfect harmony. Max danced along with them, stuffing as much spaghetti in his mouth as he could without getting caught in the tank. From that day forward, Max visited the Spaghetti Kingdom every year for the parade. And every year, he became a little bit better at twirling, leaping, and dancing. He even became friends with the giant spaghetti noodle, who was now his official pasta buddy. And so, Max learned the most important lesson of all. Sometimes, the best way to enjoy spaghetti is not just by eating it, but by dancing with it, twirling it, and living the spaghetti dream. The end.